Well, first of all, I think this was a real winner of a meeting, and I was very impressed by the survey that really went all the way from the philosophical and ethical down to some practical issues and barriers, and very exciting that the IOM was able to pull this together. I want to speak for a few minutes, not just wearing an industry hat, which I currently do as the Chief Medical Officer of Merck, but I'm only a recent arrival there, and up until 3 years ago was the dean of a medical school and spent 20 years in academia. So from both of those perspectives, and just to highlight some themes, I would say that my first theme is that I think that we need to do more to get the best interests of patients up front. We've heard a lot about the difficulties for researchers to access data and their promotional issues, and we've heard about systems and payers and all of the problems they have. But I would just recommend that our starting point always be the patient and the best interest of patients. And number one on that, and I know that there's been a difference of opinion here, is privacy and confidentiality. I think that they actually are paramount. And, you know, the history of the last century reveals that when information, very private information about individuals, is revealed against their will, it can do great harm. It can destroy careers. It can lead to the loss of life. It's a completely different thing if somebody wants to put everything private on Facebook. That's their choice. But I don't think we should take liberty with that. And I would advocate that as a top principle. I'm not going to review all of the benefits that we heard. We heard a lot of benefits for transparency, which I think it was really great to assemble them. I got an appreciation of some that I hadn't heard before. For instance, that revealing data can actually be used in defense in controversial circumstances. So it's actually maybe a little counterintuitive sometime, but actually to put that data out there can be helpful for those who are concerned about the downside of revealing data, and also the enormous impact of hidden data, missing data, that we sometimes think we have a full picture, but we don't. I also do want to move the discussion to earlier than sharing data. The quality of the data is important, and sharing data that is no good will lead to mislearning and misinformation, and that has real downsides. And I think it really needs to be a tandem examination here. Transparency has to be coupled with an understanding of the limitations of the data that we deal with, because, you know, in some circumstances the emperor has no clothes, and the data may really not be worth examining. And if it's not reproducible, a theme that we heard many times, I think that presents a problem for everyone. Academia, industry, again, beginning with the patient, you could make conclusions on the wrong data that ultimately will harm patients. And some of this stuff is pretty sophisticated, and although I don't generally advocate being paternalistic or maternalistic, in some cases it's not possible to appreciate with a sufficient sophistication all of the issues. And then I would say that while I think virtually everyone in the room has come into this meeting advocating transparency and data sharing, I think that there are important pitfalls and downsides to sharing data. We not only might reveal problems about drugs or therapies that could be misused, but we could lose access to some true benefits. And Hans-Georg Eichler from the European Medicines Agency, I think, explained that very well, so that you know, flawed analyses. If your data isn't good, it doesn't matter how good the methodology, how elegant it is, you apply. And so we could actually lose public trust by getting a lot of publicity around flawed analyses. I don't have a remedy for that, but I think we need to be mindful of it.